In this video, we're going to take a look at our profile and make sure it is complete before we have any travel activity. Go ahead and click on the profile icon, then select Profile Settings. Please select Personal Information to get started. You will notice some fields have been pre-populated from other systems. Some of these are values that you cannot change. The first one that you're going to run into is your name. Please ensure that this is your legal name and it matches any form of identification that you would use to board a flight. The company information section will be pre-populated for you, nothing to change there. Your work address. In this particular section, please go ahead and choose your assigned location for your campus. So we'll go ahead and select Chico. You can enter the work address. It's not required. It is an optional value to enter. Home address is also an optional section. You do not need to fill this out. You don't technically need that information. Contact information. We have pre-populated your work phone. Either your work phone or your home are required, one or the other. If this phone number is correct, no need to change anything and you can move forward. So the next section is email addresses. Your CSU Chico email address will be listed here, and you should see that the status is not verified unless you've already performed this step. In order to verify your email, please select the Verify hyperlink. You will see an email come to your CSU Chico email address. It will have a very long access or authentication code that you're going to want to copy and paste into this section. And then you'll click OK, and you'll see that your email is now verified. So activity that you have related to Concur knows and recognizes your CSU Chico email address and will make some connections later as you have travel activity. The emergency contact section is optional as well. Any information that you do put in here will be available for any of the Concur administrative folks on our campus, as well as our travel agent behind the scenes. So if there's any need to be able to contact an emergency contact, this would be our point of reference, one of them potentially. Travel preferences. I would spend some time on this section. This, is where you're going to note any like special rate fare classes that you might be eligible for. Maybe you have preferences for the type of seat, window, aisle, whatnot. You can designate those things here. And then what happens when you're going to book a reservation in the system, it filters out all the things that you do not prefer. So it just, gives you an opportunity to not have to look through a bunch of results that you're not interested in. Of course, you can override these preferences at the time you are booking a reservation, but this will help filter out the responses that you are not looking for. So spend some time there. Frequent traveler programs. This is a section that you would enter any information about, like let's say you have a Southwest Rapid Rewards number, or maybe you have a rewards number with a hotel chain. Go ahead and add that program. It's going to ask you for that rewards number, the hotel chain, or the airline carrier. You're going to add that information. So even though you're booking travel in the Concur system, you're going to be receiving points towards those reward programs that are entered here. Advantage programs, you can skip this area. The next section that's going to be not necessarily populated, but something for you to keep in mind. If you had booked a flight in the system and you had to cancel it, it will store your unused ticket credits here in this section. So that's always tied to your profile. You can see what kind of credits you might have available out there to use towards future trips. And when you do go to book flights in the future, it will prompt you to use those ticket credits, and then it will just show your remaining balance here in your profile as you chip away at any credits you might have. The TSA Secure Flight section is a required section. You need to make sure that gender and date of birth, again, matches the form of identification that you'll be presenting to get on a plane. If you have a TSA pre-check number, you can enter it here in this field. That will translate to any flights that you book in the system. It'll have that reference on your tickets. Please keep in mind this does expire every 5 years, so make sure yours is current so you don't have any surprises. If you want to, you can enter passports and visas if you have those. It's not required, but it is helpful for international travel. This next section, called assistance, is going to be where you're going to designate somebody that might help you with booking your travel. So if you have an assistant of sorts or someone that's going to be helping you facilitate your travel reservations, this is where you're going to want to add them as an assistant. So you're going to click Add Assistant. You'll start typing their name and it will pull back all the available people in the system, those who have been provisioned. And so if I select this person, I'm going to say they can book travel for me. And I'm probably going to say this person is my primary assistant for travel. And you'll click Save. And now you can see they have a green check mark signifying that they can book travel on your behalf. If this is a red minus sign, all that means is you missed the little box that says they can book travel for me. So just go ahead and click the edit button. It'll pop back up. Make sure you have this little box selected. Save again, and you should see this green arrow. And you can add as many assistants as you like. Just keep in mind, I would add people where that's actually going to be, somebody that's going to actually help you. And then you'll move to the last section, which is credit cards. If you have one of CSU Chico's travel credit cards, we will enter that information in here for you before we hand over that card for use. However, if you are not eligible for that program or you don't elect to get that card, then you will need to put some form of card in here for booking hotel reservations. So just like you would call a hotel and book a room, they're going to ask for a credit card to solidify that reservation. It doesn't mean it gets charged, but it is holding and guaranteeing that room. So you will need to have a credit card in the system in order to book hotels in Concur. Again, you can change your form of payment when you actually leave the hotel, but for purposes of booking and guaranteeing that room, you do need to have a card on file. And that is all that you need to do to revisit your main section of your profile. The other piece that is important to call out is the delegate section. So if you scroll back up and go to request settings, hit request delegates. This will be a person that, just like the travel arranger, can start a travel request or an expense report on your behalf. So maybe you have someone that's helping you compile the information related to your trip or your expenses when you come back. That person can start those items on your behalf before you actually take the final step to submit them for approval. Just like we did for the travel arranger, we're going to go ahead and add a delegate, clicking the add button. You will search for the person that you want to add access to. Select that individual, and then you're going to want to select can prepare. So this is what gives them permission to prepare a travel request or an expense report on your behalf. You will notice when I check this box, the can view receipts was automatically selected. This means that they can see any receipts that are in your profile, which helps them put together an expense report on your behalf if that is the arrangement. Some of these other designations are either not accessible to you or not applicable, but let's walk through them just in case. Can use reporting is not an option, so you can disregard that one. Receives emails, if I selected this, that means that this delegate receives every email that I receive as a traveler. So every time I have a travel request that gets approved and I receive a notification, this person would essentially get a carbon copy of that communication. If I was an approver and I was going to be gone on vacation, I might select a new approver to temporarily cover my duties while I'm on vacation when it comes to approval. So if I wanted to add this delegate as someone who could approve in my absence, I would check this box and put in the dates of the time that I will be away from the office. Can preview for approver is a designation that you would make if you wanted them to look over any submissions that you received as an approver before you approve them. So As an example, if I was an approver and someone had submitted something for me to review, this delegate can look it over before I get in there to review it, make sure it looks complete. If that's part of your arrangement, that person can perform that function for you if you select this box. Receives approval emails means if, again, in the scenario where you might want someone to look at everything that's been submitted for you to approve before you actually approve it, checking this box would ensure that they receive an email, just like you do, notifying you that there is something in your queue, in your approval queue to review and pass along, either approve or deny. So those are the boxes or options that you can select for a given delegate. So then you just go ahead and save, or if you needed to make an adjustment later and delete someone, you can select this box, click delete, say OK, and now your delegate access has been updated. Another setting that's important to call out for your profile, or it's best to do when you're completing your profile, is this expense setting called personal car. What we need to do, and this is a one-time setup, is to create a car registration. So go ahead and select new. It's going to ask for a vehicle ID. This is merely just a descriptor. It can be anything that you like. So I'm just going to say personal car 1, and then I'm going to select personal car mileage. This is what connects me to the IRS mileage rate reimbursement for that given year, depending on when I travel. So again, this is a one-time setup. Go ahead and click save. And now when you claim mileage in the future, it will know which rate to use. Okay. And that is it for setup for your personal profile.